You guys sit here and talk about it's not a single player. I'm conflating three different topics. Really? Can you just answer the question?
And transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. Do you know that millions of senior citizens in this country are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less? They helped build this country. They fought for our country. They're in nursing homes, which are horrible places right now because they're underfunded, understaffed. We are the richest country in the history of the world. How do we provide a good quality life for our kids? Should we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major nation? Highest rate of senior poverty? Those are the issues. You disagree with me? Fine. You got a better idea than mine? Great. Let's go forward. Let's discuss those issues. Let's not attack each other personally, that we're un-American, that we hate America. That's nonsense. That just divides us. Let's come together. Let's discuss the real issues. Let us create the kind of extraordinary country that we know we can create.
On that note, Senator Sanders, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, thank you both for being here tonight. Thank you to our audience and for your excellent questions. We really appreciate them tonight. Thank you all for...
Oh, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad. I mean, shout out to the Dems that stuck around. Usually when I start playing y'all own, y'all start leaving because I guess y'all see how crazy they sound. But this time, y'all stuck around. Y'all stuck around. So respect. But all right, though, let's go ahead and see what's going to go on with this debate.
Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo, senior politics editor at Politico, Sally Goldenberg, and Telemundo 47 anchor Rosarena Breton. This is a 2-hour debate live on all NBC New York and Telemundo 47 streaming and digital platforms, Politico.com, Telexitos, and YouTube. The first hour is also live on Channel 4 and Telemundo 47. We do have a few rules for the candidates. For traditional question and answer, you'll have 1 minute to respond, and we'll offer 30-second rebuttals at the moderator's discretion. We'll also be asking questions where we will be looking for shorter answers. We also reserve the right to cut off your microphone if you ignore the rules, but candidates, you know we don't want to do that. The goal is for you to hear each other and for New Yorkers to hear everything you have to say. Good luck. We'll begin with Melissa Russo.
Thank you, David, and good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. We begin tonight by asking you to do what every mayor dreams of, and that is to write your own headlines. Imagine it's January 2027, and you have been in office for exactly 1 year. We would like you to quickly give us one headline about what you think your biggest accomplishment will have been in year number 1. We'll begin with you, Mr. Cuomo.
First, thank you very much for sponsoring the debate and having all of us. The one headline, how many characters in the headline?
You know, you're familiar with headline length.
Rent down, comma, crime down, comma, education scores up, comma, more jobs in New York City.
Now we're getting maybe a little over the average headline length, but...
Optimism high.
Thank you. Mr. Sliwa.
Curtis Sliwa is without
the only Republican,
his iconic red beret, because I'm talking to the people of New York City about the really serious issues of affordability, the cost of living, and obviously what I spent most of my life doing, which is public safety in the streets and the subways.
We would love a headline from you. What will...
And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, the fate of New York hangs in the balance. I mean, I'm actually hoping this guy does well. Because, like, yo, New York, this might be your only chance to go to the right, man. Look, you ain't even got to tell nobody, man. You can vote in secret. It's okay. It's okay. But y'all might need somebody on the right, man. It's between Cuomo and Mondani. And if I had to pick, I'd choose Cuomo. But if I really had a choice, I'd go for the Republican and see how he does.
Will your headline be your big headline and you're number 1 as mayor?
Curtis Sliwa exceeds all expectations and looks very mayoral tonight.
Mr. Mondani, you've had some time to think about it now. What's your headline?
It's a pleasure to be here, first of all, and I really want to thank the moderators and the opportunity to speak directly to New Yorkers about this moment in time and our opportunity to transform the most expensive city in the United States of America. The headline would read in about a year, Mondani continues to take on Trump, delivers on affordability agenda for New Yorkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mondani. Sally?
Thank you, Melissa.
That's a banging headline.
We're going to talk about leadership. Voters have reservations about all three of you as chief executive of New York City, a city with roughly 300,000 employees and a budget bigger than many countries. We have questions for each of you, and Mr. Cuomo, we will begin with you. As a former governor of New York, you obviously have the management experience. but you resigned from office amid sexual harassment and COVID-related scandals. Why should voters now trust that you have the character to be mayor?
Nursing homes.
Good. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the question. First, you are right. I left office. There was a report that was done that had allegations of harassment. I said at the time it was a political report and that there was no basis to it. It was then sent to 5 district attorneys. They all reviewed it. They found nothing. It was then litigated for 5 years. I was dropped from the cases. So none of that came to anything. When it comes to executive experience, I've run the Department of Housing and Urban Development, built housing all across the nation. I was governor for 11 years. The budget is double what it is in New York City, and I got government to work. I passed groundbreaking laws, minimum wage, paid family leave, built projects that had never been built before. This is no job for on-the-job training. And if you look at the failed mayors, they're ones that had no management experience. Don't do it again.
Thank you. Rosarina?
Shout out Mandani.
In the theme of leadership, Mr. Mandani, you work as a foreclosure prevention counselor for winning seat in the state assembly. You have no substantial management experience. How are you ready to lead the nation's largest and greatest city in the world in one day? You have a minute.
You know, I have the experience of having served in the New York State Assembly for 5 years and watching a broken political system, the experience of seeing a governor in Andrew Cuomo who would rather have served his billionaire donors and the working class New Yorkers who voted for him, and the experience amidst all of that of fighting and winning for working class taxi drivers to free them from predatory debt and delivering the first free bus lines in New York City history, and in working with unions and working class New Yorkers to finally raise taxes just that little bit on Mr. Cuomo's donors to start to fully fund our public school. And more than that, I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand, is that it is far too expensive and far too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
If I can, I think I was invoked.
Yes.
In other words, what the Assemblyman said is he has no experience. And this is not a job for someone who has no management experience to run 300,000 people, no financial experience to run $115 billion budget. He literally has never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
May I? First, what you said was totally false, as you know.
Which part was false?
During COVID, everyone did whatever they could in this state. And there have been numerous investigations where they've gone through it and they said we followed federal guidance. But yes, people died during COVID, and my heart breaks for everyone that broke in.
I mean, you know what? I could blame Cuomo, but I blame the Jay Pharma. That Jay Pharma guy who was exposed by James O'Keefe, who's pretty much saying that, yeah, we kind of BS about COVID a little bit. You know, while everybody was locked up, I was out here having, I don't know, gay parties on a boat. Yeah, while everybody was locked up in COVID, this Jay Pharma guy who was in New York, he was literally the head guy when it came to medical advice. I forgot the name of the position, but he was the head guy when it came to medical advice and, you know, how that's and how I would say medical procedures, or I would say how the vaccine mandate and how lockdowns were carried out in New York. That man, Jay Pharma, was running that. And he was kind of the one that invoked all of that, not Cuomo. And Cuomo was only going after Jay Pharma's expert advice. So I'm not really trying to like say, oh, Cuomo's innocent, but I can't really put everything on him.
Right in this state and across this nation.
But
as much as I want to.
Just to fact check that, there is a criminal investigation reportedly underway at the DOJ about your testimony to Congress about your nursing home record.
Yeah, but that is a political issue with the Congress. They made a referral, which has gone absolutely nowhere. But there have been multiple investigations where the DOJ found that the nursing home investigation was politically motivated.
Okay, we're going to move on. We might have time to come back to it. I do need to move on to Mr.
May I
Sliwa.
just finish my rebuttal? But the Assemblyman still says he has no experience to do the job.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Sliwa, as founder of the Guardian Angels and as a radio host, you've been a well-known figure in New York City for decades. But you also lack substantial management experience. So how are you prepared to be the chief executive officer of New York City? You have 1 minute, Mr. Sliwa.
First of all, I created the Guardian Angels to provide public safety in the subways and streets when government was incapable of doing so. I didn't do it to get a title or a paycheck. Secondarily, I don't declare myself to be all-knowing. I will hire the very brightest and best in their fields who have dedicated their lives to trying to improve the city of New York or the state or the federal government or the private sector. But what I will say is, thank God I'm not a professional politician. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of no cash bail, which has been a disaster. We have the architect and the apprentice here of Raise the Age. My own son was almost killed because of that in a gang attack. We have the architect and we have the apprentice of Close Rikers Island, which would just release criminals in the street. Thank God.
I mean, man, when you're the only guy when you're the only conservative on the stage, I mean, it's pretty easy for you to take shots at both sides because that was pretty smooth. That was pretty smooth how he did it. I like how he did that.
Because of that in a gang attack. We have the architect and we have the apprentice.
The architect and the apprentice. I like how he did that.
Of Close Rikers Island, which would just release criminals in the street. Thank God I'm not a professional politician because they have helped create this crime crisis in the city that we face. And I will
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Candidates, President Trump has expressed intense interest in this election and in all of you personally. Mr. Mamdani, the president called you, quote, my little communist. Mr. Sliwa, he said you're, quote, not exactly prime time. And Mr. Cuomo, he has been critical of you, but said you have always gotten along. The president has threatened to cut federal funds to the city. And just yesterday, he killed the Gateway Project, the tunnel connecting New York to New Jersey. You've all promised to resist him in some way. What would you say in your first official call with the president to set the tone for your relationship moving forward? We'll give you a minute for this. We'll start with you, Mr. Mamdani.
I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers. That's something that he ran his presidential campaign on, and yet all he's been able to deliver thus far has been prosecuting his political enemies and trying to enact the largest deportation program in American history. And what distinguishes me from Andrew Cuomo is the fact that he has gotten on the phone with that same president, not asking him how to work together to help New Yorkers, or not telling him that he would refuse to back down to protect those New Yorkers, but instead asking him how to win this race. That's something I can do myself. I don't need the president's assistance for. And what I'd tell the president is if he ever wants to come for New Yorkers in the way that he has been, he's going to have to get through me as the next mayor of this city.
All right, Mr. Cuomo, we'll give you a little extra time, but I'd like you to answer this question as well, what your first conversation with the president would be like.
Okay. First, I never had a conversation with the president that the Assemblyman was talking about. But he has a distant relationship with the truth. I would say to the president in the first conversation, look, we have had many, many battles. We fought together every day during COVID. And the battles were bloody. And I'd like to avoid them. You know, if you come after New York, you know what I'm going to do. You know it's going to be ugly. And you know my chances are almost 50-50, even though you're the president. I'd like to work with you. I think we can do good things together. But number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of this state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump, you know that not even being able to name him is an act of cowardice. And that's what we would see from Donald Trump's puppet
All
on the right.
I do want to get Ms. Sliwa, but Mr. Cuomo,
Okay.
to respond to that.
Yeah,
Hey, nah.
I said political weaponization of the justice system is wrong. Both sides do it. It's wrong when Donald Trump does it. It's wrong when they did it to Comey. It's wrong when Comey did it to Hillary.
Okay.
It was wrong when it happened to Tish James.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. I want to give Mr. Sliwa a chance to answer this. Mr. Sliwa, your first official conversation with the president, what would you say to set the tone?
Well, first of all, there's high levels of testosterone in this room. I've had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump that goes back over 30 years. But I know one thing. We have Andrew Cuomo. We have Zoran Mandami. They want to take on Donald Trump. Look, you can be tough, but you can't be tough if it's going to cost people desperately needed federal funds. Zoran Mandami, the president, has already said it's going to take $7 billion out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor. People are going to suffer in this city. People who need those federal funds. What I would do is sit and negotiate. I would say, look, Mr. President, we need that Gateway Tunnel. It moves millions of people from Washington, D.C. to Boston. But take away the Q train project. We don't need those 3 stations going from 96th Street to 125th. It's not a necessity. Sit with the president and whoever he delegates and try to negotiate. But if you try to get tough with Trump, the only people who are going to suffer from that are the people of New York City.
Okay, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani.
You know, Mr. Trump is already suspending infrastructure grants to this city, and he's doing it in a blatant act of political retribution. And what it requires is leadership that will stand up to him. And I disagree with Mr. Sliwa. We do need to extend the 2nd Avenue subway to 125th Street. It was a promise made to Harlemites decades ago.
Okay.
It's time to actually fulfill it.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Okay, quick question for each of you. Mr. Cuomo, you've been asked this before.
He mentioned my name. Don't I get a chance to respond?
Well, we got a lot of ground to cover, Mr. Sliwa.
Right,
When was the last time you spoke with President Trump, Mr. Cuomo? You've been asked this before, and the last time you said you couldn't remember?
I believe it was during his assassination attempt.
So last year in 2024. Mr. Sliwa, when was the last time you spoke with President Trump?
Oh, many years ago, we were receiving awards. I was praising him for saving the annual Veterans Day parade.
So not a soul.
Those were the conversations that I had with him. Can I please respond? I was asked about the Q train.
Okay, real quick.
Mamdani?
I am the mayor of mass transit. We do not need a Q train. I'm in the subways every day. We have more than a capable system of transporting people.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa.
The infrastructure needs to be fixed in the system that we have.
Mr. Mamdani, have you ever spoken with President Trump?
No.
Okay, there you go. Sally.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo, a follow-up to that. President Trump has spoken positively about you and your candidacy, even as his Justice Department, as we've noted, is reportedly investigating you for allegations you lied to Congress over your COVID record. Given that dynamic, how would you be able to stand up to this White House? How are you not compromised? And just take into account that New Yorkers are troubled by what they view as a compromised relationship the current outgoing mayor has with.
Yeah, I mean, due to what was going on with Eric Adams, you know, with the government all of a sudden going after Eric Adams, Trump kind of gets involved, says he's going to help him. He got the case dropped against Eric Adams. Now, you know, everybody in New York is feeling like, you know, Eric Adams is Donald Trump's, you know, new crony. And, you know, that may be true. It may not be. But that's pretty much the concern right there with working too closely with Trump. And I mean, it is a bit weird how you can't work too closely with the president, or the president can't stick up for your innocence without people thinking that you're just working for him.
The president.
Yeah. First, you're wrong when you say there's any investigation of me. That's not true.
Do you have evidence there is no investigation?
I've heard absolutely nothing. Congress did a press release. They said they sent a letter to the Department of Justice, which they do routinely to generate press. And that's what that is. I fought Donald Trump. He investigated me repeatedly with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice Inspector General said that it was actually politically motivated. That does not back me up. When I'm fighting for New York, I am not going to stop. And I'll tell you something else. If the Assemblyman is elected mayor, Donald Trump will take over New York City, and it will be Mayor Trump who runs New York City.
We have to move on. Just very quick follow-up, yes or no. You're saying unequivocally the Justice Department is not investigating you, correct?
I've heard absolutely nothing.
They could be, and you might not have heard it. But okay, we'll move on. David?
Okay. Thank you, Sally.
That is virtually impossible, by the way.
Okay.
But Mr. Cuomo, you did put out an ad the day after the news first broke in the New York Times that you were under investigation, calling it a political investigation, saying they were coming after you as they had to, after other Democratic politicians. You haven't denied this previously.
That the Republican Congress was. Yes, I believe they play politics with the justice system. Okay. I believe the Republican Congress does.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it did look funny. Link, I'll be quite honest. It did look hella funny. So I'm not going to sit here and, say that there wasn't no funny business going on. But I'll just say this. It is a bit like unfair how his entire reputation was just tarnished just because Trump, was helping him out. I mean, if Biden did it, it'd have been all good. But let's be real. It did seem like they were going after Eric Adams, over a political reason. And it didn't make sense. Trump gets involved. They kind of drop it. I'm not sure what that's all about. But hey, ever since then, the image of Eric Adams has kind of been ruined. It's like, all right, bro, you kind of escaped, this whole you may possibly going to jail, but just know that your political stock has just been decimated.
I believe Donald Trump does it. I believe the Democrats do it. And that's why I think people are sick and tired of the justice system and the politics.
If you think that there's no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, then that's the candidate for you. If you think it's time to have a Democratic Party that actually stands up to Donald Trump and his billionaire-backed assault on working people,
thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
You're not a Democrat, right? You're not a Democrat. You're a Democratic socialist.
We have
you didn't vote for Kamala Harris, right?
We have other ground to cover. No, we have other ground to cover.
That's an incendiary charge. I want to be very.
You may have a chance to address it, but we do.
I'll be very quick.
A lot of issues to get to with New Yorkers, Mr. Mamdani.
I'll be very quick.
You didn't say leave it blank in the Kamala
I'll be very
campaign?
quick. I said leave it blank in the presidential primary because primaries are a place to air dissent. And like many Americans, I was horrified by the Israeli genocide of Palestinians. And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani.
Okay. Well, at least he stated his reasons. Shout out to Tove. Appreciate it, sis. A lot of people seem to forget Trump helped build much of NYC's business. Yeah, much of New York City's business built on Trump, but especially a lot of those nice buildings. NYC is his stomping ground. Over 500 square miles. Businesses got their funding from Trump. I'm be real with you. Trump was also pretty cool with a lot of the Wall Street guys, the big bankers. And if you cool with the bankers, man, you can get whatever loan you want with a good credit score, of course. Or if you don't want to use your credit score, you can always get, your business credit up, and then you can kind of scapegoat off that. No, that was not financial advice.
Thank you. We have to move on. This week, the world is reacting to President Trump's Israel-Hamas peace deal and the release of the hostages. And many are cautiously optimistic about a lasting peace. Of course, the mayor has no direct role in foreign affairs, and we certainly have a lot of questions for you about city matters. But this war has been a major topic in the campaign, and there are criticisms about your positions in the past and how you envision leading on these issues as mayor. So we have questions for all of you, but first for Mr. Mamdani, because of something you said that's been generating headlines in the news today as we come into the debate yesterday on Fox News. You were asked if Hamas should lay down its weapons, key to the peace plan and ceasefire. And some say they found your answer confusing. You said, quote, I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas, and that applies to the Israeli military. So for the voters tuning in tonight, Mr. Mamdani, what do you believe about Hamas and how lasting peace will be achieved? We know it's a complicated matter, but we'd like you to keep your answer to a minute if you could.
I swear to God, bro, they want Mamdani to say globalized intifada. Bro, they want him to go full on Islamist. That's what they really want. But let's see how he answers this.
Of course, I believe that they should lay down their arms. I'm proud to be one of the first elected officials in the state who called for a ceasefire. And calling for a ceasefire means ceasing fire. That means all parties have to cease fire and put down their weapons. And the reason that we call for that is not only for the end of the genocide, but also an unimpeded access of humanitarian aid. I, like many New Yorkers, am hopeful that this ceasefire will hold. I'm hopeful that it is durable. I'm hopeful that it is.
And believe it or not, Mamdani got the support of the Hasidic Jews in New York. Yes, those Jews. He got the support of the Jews in New York over his support of Palestine. Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, he literally got the support of Jews. So when people say, "Oh, you hate Jews and all that," I mean, I don't know about that, man. Jews love him in New York.
Just. And for it to be just.
Well, you can call them, oh, those are liberal Jews and all that good stuff. Well, I mean, y'all did say all Jews.
We also have to ensure that it addresses the conditions that preceded this. Conditions like occupation, like the siege, and apartheid. And that is what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah. If I may, that means from the river to the sea.
I'm being marginalized out of this.
I'm sorry.
It's a debate of three. Excuse me, Andrew. It's a debate of three. Do we acknowledge that? Three people?
Mr. Sliwa, go ahead, and we'll give you a second. Go ahead, Mr. Sliwa.
The President of the United States should have been applauded by you, Zoran Mandami, and you, Andrew Cuomo, on the day that he brought together that international coalition that met in Egypt, that came from the Middle East and the Persian Gulf. I certainly applauded him for bringing peace to Gaza and trying to end the hostilities in the war between the Israelis and Hamas, so there can be peace between the Israelis and peace between the Palestinians. But you seem, Zoran, to be incapable of praising our president. And Andrew, you were incapable of praising our president.
Gentlemen, we have
Give credit where credit is due. He's brought peace to Gaza.
Yeah, gentlemen, we want to hear everything you have to say. We have other questions on the matter. Mr. Cuomo, please, brief response, because we do have other questions on this issue that you may be able to address. Go ahead.
I did applaud President Trump and his administration. I think it was a great accomplishment. I hope the peace holds. The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalize the Intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond.
Hold on now.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hassan made on
I thought it was reject all oppressors. But all right, maybe.
9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Melissa has.
I would say this, like, bro, you should have just denounced Hassan Piker, and that'd probably been good, because bro did say we deserve 9/11, and he also loves Hezbollah. He loves Hezbollah so much that he thinks their flag is cool. So I'm just like, well, I mean, bro.
We're going to turn it to Sally, actually.
Yeah, actually, this kind of flows, and then we'll go back to Melissa. Mr. Mamdani, you told NBC's Meet the Press that you don't believe it's the role of the mayor to police speech. Your words about this war have comforted many New Yorkers, but they've troubled others, and I want to ask about some of this. There is your recent refusal, as we just discussed, to condemn the slogan, globalize the Intifada, which many view as a call to arms. In 2017, you rapped lyrics praising the Holy Land Five. These are men who were convicted of supporting terrorism.
Yeah, globalize the Intifada doesn't mean kill all Jews. I think it means low key. It doesn't mean go against all oppressors. Anybody who's an oppressor, they're just going to get it.
How would you assure New Yorkers, especially Jewish residents who might be concerned about this, that you would be a mayor for all? You have 1 minute to answer this.
Thank you for this opportunity. When I am speaking about the responsibility of leading this city, I mean leading not just those who voted for me, leading not just those who vote, but leading every single person who calls this city home. And that includes Jewish New Yorkers. And I have been so thankful for the opportunity I've had to sit with so many Jewish New Yorkers over the course of the primary and through the general. And it's in those conversations that I learned that this phrase evokes many painful memories. Memories of bus attacks in Haifa, of restaurant attacks in Jerusalem. And I heard from a rabbi about their roommate who was killed on one of those buses. And in hearing that and the distance between that impact and the rationale that some use of saying it, of speaking about the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land, is why I said that I would discourage this language that I do not use. And what I'm looking to do as the first Muslim mayor of this city is to ensure that we bring every New Yorker together. Jewish New Yorkers, Muslim New Yorkers, every single person that calls this city home, that they understand they won't just be protected, but they will belong.
Mr. Sliwa, we will get to you first. I'm going to ask a question of Mr. Cuomo. While you are a strong supporter of Israel, you have also been slow to develop a relationship with the city's Muslim community. You have called Mr. Mamdani a terrorist sympathizer. How do you assure those New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the Assemblyman created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did it take us here tonight for the first time for him to say it? He still won't denounce, globalize the Intifada, which means kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't do it. That's the issue.
Mr.
And his divisiveness
Cuomo, can you address the question
is
that we're putting to
chronic.
you? I think you've made the point, but can you please answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have.
I don't think in any way the Assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community, which is a vital community.
I mean, he kind of is. Like, the whole Muslim community is not okay with what's going down with Israel and Palestine. Like, they were not okay with that. I mean, bro, it kind of sounds like you completely avoided the Muslim community while Mamdani kind of stepped into the Jewish community. So I will say this, though. Mamdani, he's a better politician than this guy. I'll tell you that right now. Because while this man was avoiding, like, the Muslim community, I mean, he was stepping into it. And he stepped into the Jewish community, Hasidic Jewish community. He stepped into, honestly, like, he got lucky. I feel like in any other state, he'd have got crucified, but he's in New York, and a lot of these Hasidic Jews do not agree with Israel. They do agree that, like, their whole thing with Israel is that they believe that the Israelis that are there went back too early. They're not supposed to come until the Messiah goes. So they think that the Israelis or the Jews over there is kind of like, you know, starting things off too early with the prophecy, or they're trying to force the prophecy of the Messiah.
In New York City, and I am very fond of, and I've been working with. I think he's playing his own politics. Many of his positions don't even follow the Muslim faith, so I see them as two totally separate things.
Mr. Mamdani, want to respond?
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many
I mean, let's be real, though. Hating Muslims is like a new fad on the right for some reason. I do not get it. I don't get it. But I can kind of tell who's on the right and the left from your hatred of Muslims.
New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except that is totally false. I worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here. They were
before I was here.
Before you were even in state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Sliwa, Rosarita has a specific question for you, but I'll give you a second here just to weigh in.
This is what disturbs me about you. You will be celebrating your birthday this weekend. In 1991, I was in the streets of Crown Heights with the Guardian Angels for 30 days and 30 nights when the first Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City, that's right, David Dinkins, was a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, abandoned the Jews for 3 days. They were left to their own means. And we protected them for 30 days and 30 nights. Then your favorite mayor, Bill de Blasio, in 2019, abandoned the Jews again when they were being attacked in Williamsburg and Borough Park and Crown Heights. And I had to bring the Guardian Angels in for 30 days, 30 nights. Jews don't trust that you are going to be there for them when they are victims of anti-Semitic attacks.
Okay. Brief response, Mr. Mamdani. We have a specific question for you from Rosarita, but Mr. Mamdani, please.
I agree, by the way.
One of the most meaningful experiences I've had over the course of this campaign has been the conversations I've had with Jewish New Yorkers. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about the door that they've had to lock that they had kept open for 40 years. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me on the M57 about an apartment this speech therapist was trying to sell when a realtor told her, put the Jewish books off the table. Jewish New Yorkers who've told me about their fear in living in this city, and I will be a mayor who finally addresses that, not through the theatrics of the politics on this stage, but through action. I'll do that by ensuring that we have police officers outside of synagogues on the high holy days.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to, and we do have a specific question for Mr. Sliwa. Rosarina.
Thank you, David. Mr. Sliwa, you've called for tougher policing of pro-Palestinian protests, and you've suggested that Mr. Mamdani uses languages that is anti-Semitic. How do you assure New Yorkers that you'll be the mayor for all?
Well, I've been there for all people in all times for 46 years as leader of the Guardian Angels here and around the world. Whether it is a religion.
Yeah, but I kind of seem to be just harping on the Jews. I mean, like, let's be honest now. I love the fact that you guys help Jewish communities and you hear them out. But I mean, what about the black ones? I mean, Italian, Asian. I mean, there's hella those guys in New York City. So can we hear about how you guys, get in touch with other people in New York as well? I mean, goddamn, not all of New York is Jews. I mean, it has the biggest population in the world of Jews, but come on now.
Religious violation of people's rights to worship as they choose in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue, or a shul, whether it's because of racial identity. Remember, in the summer of 2020, Asians were under constant attack because of the lockdown and pandemic. I don't remember Governor Cuomo coming to their aid. You were the governor then. I was out there going into all the neighborhoods, Flushing, Bayside. We were in down in Bensonhurst. We were in Chinatown itself, where Asians were being attacked.
I ain't gonna lie, bro don't need to be mayor. He needs to be chief of police.
Attacked indiscriminately because they were thought to be carrying COVID. We protected them then. Governor, you were not there for them. De Blasio was not there for them. We understand hate. And in order to counteract hate, you have to get the community involved along with the police to protect people when they're under siege. Jews are under attack now more than ever before. And I don't believe either of you have the capabilities of protecting them with increased anti-Semitism.
That is pure fiction.
And Shaddai Tov, can they just stop attacking each other and talk on actual issues? Yeah, I know, right? I mean, they kind of got caught up in this whole, who loved the Jews more? And it's just like, all right, guys, come on now. I mean, let's get back to affordability.
I passed the no hate in our state, the strongest hate crime law in the United States of America. We tolerate no hatred, no discrimination. We are from every place on this globe, and
unless
we are
it's
proud
you
of
that's
it.
perpetrating
and, excuse me, and we're tolerant and we accept. If you notice, the assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state. He is a divisive personality all across the board. NYPD are racist. Barack Obama is evil, liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
By the way,
I mean, well, I made the point earlier. Well, Barack Obama did bomb a whole bunch of Muslims, so I don't know why any Muslim would like Barack Obama, to be quite honest. Like, they have every right not to like Barack Obama.
By the way, Cuomo, your laws
and
no
Bush.
cash bail turn the haters right back in the street to violate and attack again and again and again.
Thank you.
You're the reason for that. No cash bail.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Go ahead.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any states. I said that I will not.
As a Jewish state.
If I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear, and part of that is because I'm an American.
Okay, then Mandani, you might as well just say, yeah, I don't recognize Israel as a Jewish state, because that's exactly what they do. I mean, yeah, they are supremacists. There is Jewish supremacy in Israel. They do think, well, they are the chosen people. They do not allow Palestinians in certain areas in their city. They kind of control where they go, and yeah, they do because they feel like they're better than them. So if that's why, if you're saying that you won't recognize a country that does that, then yeah, you don't recognize Israel.
who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel or whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New Yorkers know
You answered the question.
We want
Israel.
to address some issues here.
All right, and we have another polarizing issue that we would love to discuss with you candidates. And let's talk about the National Guard here in the city of New York. Now, let's go back to Mr. President Donald Trump. One threat hanging over the city is the deployment of the National Guard troops, like he has done, as you all know, in other cities. The NYPD commissioner has rejected the idea as unnecessary, but the president ordered troops to hit the streets of New York. Now, how would you respond? Mr. Sliwa, you have a minute.
There's no need for the National Guard in New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor, when we had a crime crisis in the subways that I'm well familiar with, being down there all the time, unlike my two adversaries, she sent 750 National Guardsmen down into the subways in 2024. Remember the horrible case of Debrina Kawan. Does anybody even say her name anymore? That woman who was set on fire by that migrant. As a result of that, the worst crime I've ever seen committed in the subway system, the governor did the right thing. She sent an additional 250 National Guardsmen, giving us a total of 1,000 National Guardsmen in the subway system, while our mayor, Eric Adams, was telling us it was all a perception. So Governor Hochul has responded. I would tell the President of the United States, since I'm familiar with cities all across America having guardian angels there, if you were going to send the National Guard, you don't need to send them to New York City. There are other cities that could desperately use their help in dealing with their crime crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Mr. Mamdani, how
No, Chicago.
You know, I agree with Police Commissioner Tish in that we do not need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. What New York...
Yeah, but the problem is that, well, those are blue cities that are in Republican states. Like the highest crime city in Ohio is Cleveland, or you can even say Cincinnati, or you can say Columbus. But guess what? Each one of them, the highest crime cities in Ohio, are all liberal, are all blue cities. The highest crime cities in Louisiana, all blue cities. So yeah, if it has high crime, 9 times out of 10, it's ran by a Democrat. Sadly, a black Democrat.
Need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety.
Columbus.
When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that Andrew Cuomo can say.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, first, the answer in the subways is not more National Guard. I put National Guard in the subways also. It's more NYPD is the answer. But the National Guard is not, he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power. He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. He has said if the assemblyman is elected, he will take over New York. Forget the National Guard.
But this is
he
not
has
the
said, I'm going to take
question
the
is,
funds.
if they order the troops to come here, what
Yes,
would you do?
well, I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship
Wait a
with the
second.
president.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive.
I don't know, Andrew Cuomo. That was before, 14 million illegals or more went over the border. So I'm not sure if Trump will be willing to listen to you now.
But let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
and
didn't
you have
you
a
send the
difficult
National Guard?
understanding that what the term no is. You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
I agree with Curtis.
You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump. Okay. And he can't stand up to Donald Trump, who knocked him right on his tuchus.
You negotiate with him. You don't fight with him, because only the people of New York City will lose.
We do have a follow-up to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
I'd like to see a show of hands. Are there any circumstances where any of you would allow the NYPD to cooperate with the National Guard if Trump sent them to New York? Show of hands. Yes? No takers. Okay.
Really?
Moving on, if history is a guide, National Guard troops in the city could trigger protests. And we have questions for each of you about how
Smart move, because I'm pretty sure nobody knows how their constituents feel about that. But I mean, damn, the fact that the Republican didn't even raise his hand says something.
You would handle that. So, Mr. Sliwa, you have been arrested for protesting migrant housing and for trying to serve Mayor Bill de Blasio with court papers. How would your NYPD handle protests? And would you continue participating in protests as mayor? You have 1 minute.
Well, I have been arrested oftentimes in civil disobedience. That is a great American right. But demonstrations have a time and a place. And it used to be before Bill de Blasio, I know he was your favorite mayor, Joel Mondami, that you'd have to get a permit. There's a time period you were in a structured area. You get a sound permit. It could be turned around in a day. If there was going to be civil disobedience, you discussed it with the police department. And obviously you had an opportunity